Welcome to Sunday Night MTG here at MagicFest Memphis, a special edition post-Grand Prix interview with the champion of Memphis, Jody MagicFest Keith, all the way out from New Orleans, here in Memphis, taking the hardware today. Congratulations so much.
Oh, thank you. Thanks for having me.
So we have been, chasing you for a little bit today and following you, just wrecking people and playing a deck that is not necessarily the easiest deck to pilot, but you are making it look easy. You've had this incredible run coming up to this weekend, not just this weekend, but you've got SEG Dallas and the PTQ. You've been just running hot with the deck again that's not necessarily a known quantity in the metagame.
No.
So how are you playing this Rakdos deck so well?
Well, last season before Ravnica Allegiance came out, I had to play standard. I am not a standard player, full disclosure. I don't play standard, so you know the deck's good. I play Legacy, I play Modern, but every now and then I have to play the Invitational for Star City games, so I have to get on a standard grind for a couple weeks. And the deck I liked before Allegiance came out was the big Boros deck with Treasure Map. I think it was like a Sam Black creation. Treasure Map, Siege Gang, basically. They had Starve, Extinction, and Indefinite Clarion in that deck, but really, I really was impressed with how good the Siege Gang was in the format against the green-black decks. Just being able to pick off the Midnight Reapers and all the little X2s, pressure them to where they can't keep a Planeswalker in play, which is their biggest form of card advantage. So Siege Gang just grinds them out really big. And then you have the Direfleet Daredevil, which is like the red Snapcaster, off your opponent's graveyard. So you're effectively in the green-black match playing Fine Finality with Siege Gang, which is going really deep.
Oh yeah.
It's about as deep as you can go.
So in this deep field, the diverse field, this is one of the thickest standard fields that we've had in a while, metagame-wise. How is that Rakdos deck getting in there?
Okay, the Rakdos deck lines up really well in the current metagame with the rise of mono blue. You also have these white decks, History Benalia decks with a lot of one-toughness creatures. So Chain Whirler is already a really good threat in the format. Also, if you look at a lot of the removal across all the deck lists, you see Raz Contempt numbers going down. There's like 2 Contempts. You see no Seal Aways. Like before, Jeskai was more of a premier control deck, and they played Seal Away. Now you have Esper, so they're playing Mortify, and the Phoenix is really strong. And the Siege Gang is really big. So against the white deck, when they pile on you, you can Chain Whirler to thin them out. Same thing with the blue. They have a lot of one-toughness creatures. Lava Coil is a great removal spell against both, hitting their better threats, and then the weaker ones fall to Chain Whirler. I was really impressed with the card Carnival Carnage because, like I said, there's so many one-toughness creatures between the two of the 3 most popular decks. I'd say we have blue, white, and Sultai. So if you Carnival the 1/1s, it's just like have more shocks, and then the flexibility of also being able to discard. So if they have a couple cards left over, you have the board controlled with Dire Fleet. Sometimes you just play it as Elvis Archer, turn 2, 2/1 first strike, will hold it down against History Benalia. And then you also have the Chain Whirlers, and then you can make them discard their removal spells and clear the way for the Phoenix or the Siege Gang. And Siege Gang really takes back over the board. And those blue and white decks, now if you look at the Sultai deck, they try and gain a lot of card advantage. They have the Krasis, they have the Planeswalkers. Siege Gang checks a lot of that. I'm also playing 2 Eldritch Reborn to check the Planeswalkers. So Siege Gang can shrink the board into an Eldritch Reborn. And then also those decks can't really keep up with the card selection and card draw of Treasure Map on turn 2. They're really forced into playing a Hostage Taker on turn 4. And then that lines up great with your Lava Coils. And most of their creatures, will die can't really fight a Chain Whirler, if you think about it, outside of a Wild Growth Walker. So the big 3 decks you line up really well against.
So let's talk a little bit about, you have only dropped a handful of games in the past couple of weeks in general.
It's been a good run.
What has been the thing that has pushed the deck to its max?
Pushing it to its max, I would say mostly I just try and take every game one at a time. And I was just playing the finals and I didn't think about anything except how to win the game. And I was in a very deep game against a great opponent. Corey's a great opponent. He played very well, and there was so much action on the board, and just being able to, focus in on these games where they have so many lines. Whenever you have a card like Siege Gang there's so much that you can do with a card like that. You can beat them down. I mean, I've had Drakes over here where you would normally shoot the Drakes and, you know, play around, dive down, just come aggro with Siege Gang. And you just have so many different options with this deck. You have Dire Fleet, play it now, play it later. You have the Reveler, you have the discarded cards. So just staying focused on each game and taking them one at a time, how am I going to win this game in particular, has really got me through this many rounds of Magic. I mean, I played the Open last week. That was, I don't know, 14 rounds that I played. You know, once you discount the buys, 14 rounds I played that week. I played a PTQ here on Friday, lost in the finals. That was like another 8 rounds. And then I played this Grand Prix. I had 2 buys, so that's 13 Swish rounds, and then 3 in the top 8, so 16 rounds. I mean, I can't even math right now, y'all. I just got done with this thing. I can't math, but there's a lot of rounds, and there's a lot of Siege Gangs, and it's a lot of options. And the only way you can do it like that is to take it one at a time. And I actually do some coaching on the side. I'm part of I'm a full-time content creator on Twitch and YouTube, and then I also am part of the Magic Mastermind coaching group. It's with a lot of other great coaches. And so that's one of the things that I really focus on and try and get people who are trying to get better. That's probably the best advice I could give you, is just play one game at a time. And I know it sounds cliche, but you have to remind yourself every round. You can't get distracted, because the only way to actually do it is to, you know, have that one mission, you know, with some other, you know, a couple other things too, you know, like try and get some sleep, eat your Wheaties. No, I don't eat the Wheaties, but you know, you got to get through.
Well, I'm glad you mentioned that, because, you know, we've talked to a lot of players, and one of the constant things that keeps coming up is, you know, preparation. Sleep and food are important for sure, but you can't win 15 rounds in one round. You got to win one round at a time, and you got to really take each opponent and each matchup a little bit different.
Oh yeah.
Each angle is going to be a little bit different. Obviously, a lot of people know of you from, you know, Legacy Lands and, you know, formats outside of Standard. How do these other formats really come into play when you come into a much more condensed card pool?
Ooh, that's a good question. I would say that I'd love to give you a good answer, but the thing about it is I've been playing Magic for a very long time, and I'm just gonna be real with you. I saw this deck. I didn't build this deck, okay? I saw, you know, this Jun list, and then I started like moving it, and then I saw some people starting to move the red black, and basically I saw Siege Gang, and I saw Shock, and it was like, that's 2 OGs right there. So I got to mess with them, and I gave it a try. And lightning in a bottle, I played the deck, and it was nuts. And then I made the changes. As far as like, you know, playing Eternal Formats experience, I'm not really sure what applies there, because it's kind of hard, because whenever it comes to choosing the cards, yeah, it's a smaller pool, but the strategies that you like to play, like I like to play lands, I like to play land strategies, I like to play strategies that are hard to interact with. And I felt like this red-black deck really was hard to interact with, because like treasure map, and everybody has artifact removal in that point, and then also be able to beat the aggro decks, because that's one thing lands always did. So that's what I'm trying to do pretty much every time. So I mean, you might have seen one of my matches. I was getting down with some chain whirlers and playing, you know, 2-1, and it looked like I was the aggressor. And sometimes you do that. Sometimes you run out to make it 20-20. But most of the part, I just sit back. I want to play control, and I want to have some hard to interact with permanents. Like, I didn't play the Angrath, I played the Eldritch Reborn main deck. Now the Angrath is good, he's got a spot, he's in there, but the Eldritch Reborn is a lot harder to remove, and it's incremental over time, and so usually that just kind of fits my play style. So I mean, some people would say Gates is like more of a lands. Like, you know, I got a lot of goons that they're like, oh, this has got to be the lands deck. You know, in modern, you got to play this. This has got to be. Why aren't you playing Amulet? You play lands. But I think the translation is more that it's a control deck with a combo finish. And this deck does have some combo potential. I mean, Siege Gang's like everything you ever want: attack, block, combo. That, I mean, it's all by itself. You know, you could status it. I did that, give it that touch, and then kill the board. You know, and so the deck's got a lot going for it, and what I like to play.
So shout out to Siege Gang and Shock from Onslaught Block OGs.
Oh yeah, the one-man goon squad.
So, you know, when you won, you had a lot of shout-outs. I know you gave a direct shout-out to moms, you know, because you got to. That's where it got to start.
That's where it starts, literally.
So, give you some more shout-out opportunities real quick.
Oh, man, I just got to got to say one love, good vibes to all the goons, everybody's in the chat, everybody's in there requesting the music, keeping the tunes going while we were grinding standard on Arena the last couple weeks. Thanks for sticking with me through it, because I know y'all love the legacy action. Turns out we good at standard. And then definitely, of course, my moms, my family that support me, all my friends who were here, watch, witness, and keep me going and rooting for me the whole time. The high fives, everybody here. And yeah, you know, I mean, everybody who's always supported me in this game for the longest amount of time. I've been playing for a long time, and there's a lot of people, even just outside on a smoke break, you know, shooting it with a random player and just pick my brain and like, oh man, I saw your YouTube video. Man, I love that story about that thing from the story time. And it's like, it means so much to me that people actually care about how I do in this world of Magic, you know? And, you know, it makes me want to be better for everybody else, you know? I just try and do it for everybody, you know? I mean, that's how I feel pretty much. I mean, this is a big accomplishment, but it's not done by myself. No way have I ever done this. And, you know, I mean, and, yeah, everybody, you know, one love.
Yeah, it takes a lot to put this all together, and obviously you're the pilot, but you know, you got some goons in the house with us today, goons all over the world. It makes it easy because you're a real approachable guy. You are down to earth. You know, you're a very high-level Magic player, but you know, you are approachable and just like everybody else, and you know, everybody has their own struggle or whatever.
Everybody, man. Everybody's got their own struggle, man. That's what we really. Every time I run into something, that's what gets me going. I'm like, everybody's got their struggle, and the best you can do is try and make somebody else's struggle a little easier, you know. And if you're outside and somebody's, you know, anything you can do, you know, and I try and do it. And you know, it's just a great way to live. You know, I love helping people out.
Yeah. You know? Well, and you'll never be a place without a friend.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. Yeah, I got a lot of friends.
Well, we're here on Sunday night MTG with the GP Memphis 2019 champion, Jody Keith, talking about the deck, talking about life, talking about all things positive here. It's been such a pleasure to get to know you and kind of see you chasing the dream for so many people out there watching.
Oh man,
would love. I know that this is a huge accomplishment for you.
It's
huge
so much
for
fun.
the Pro Tour in London. Which is going to be lit now.
Oh yeah,
because Jody Keith's going to be there.
Jody, London, man. Oh,
Jody
man.
MagicFest Keith here live. Keep that going. I love everything you're doing. It's great to have you here. Congratulations again. This is only going to be the beginning. You're going to bring back many more hardware items, and
we got one today, baby.
For a shout out to Davardi, be welcome to eat some Gold Star chili out of this cup. He ate some out of his Indianapolis SCG Open, so you got to drop some gumbo in there or something like that.
Oh man, gotta wait till I get home for that. I can't eat gumbo in Memphis, baby.
Oh no. You know, we had Galactic up in Lexington. One of the things in the rider, they say, do not feed us New Orleans food because we live in New Orleans. Don't try to bring that weakness. Yeah. Well, thanks again, Jody, for being here. Yeah, everything. Here on Sunday night MTG with the champion, Jody MagicFest Keith here in Memphis. Congratulations again, and hopefully you've enjoyed this content we've brought to you from Memphis. Keep it locked here on Sunday night MTG. Peace.
Miles out when we do nothing.